On the playing field, heroes come in all shapes and sizes, from Jimmy Rollins to Ryan Howard, Brian Westbrook to John Runyon.
Well, on the battlefield, warriors aren't measured by their stature either, but instead by their heart and maybe more importantly, by their respect of their peers. Michael Barkin has more on a former South Jersey football player who had both.
One of the teachers at the high school said, he's such a gentleman that he's from eras gone by.
But Marc Ryan's gentility off the field belied a ferocious player when it came time to strap up.
What was the defensive mindset coming into this game? Shut him down from the beginning and don't let him get up.
He was just a different person on game day. We would go to the locker room and music would be blasting. He would just be very quiet and intense and thinking and in thought. And then when he put that equipment on, he was just a different person.
Brackett is drilled in the backfield. What a hit by Marc Ryan, who's playing a heck of a game today.
His freshman year, it was like, wow, who's this kid? That's when people would, really started noticing him. He was like a man out there. First play of the game as a freshman, the coach would always run some kind of play, and Marc would run people over and get a touchdown. That was always the first play of the game.
4 years after opening eyes as a freshman, number 19 finished up a spectacular high school career for Gloucester City High School in the fall of 1997. He took home first team All-South Jersey honors. Upon graduation in the spring of '98, Ryan headed off to college to play for Division III Wesley in Delaware.
Growing up, when he got to be older, I always knew that he wanted to, play football, go to college, play football, and be a Marine. But you really can't do those things at the same time.
Eventually, Marc proved his mom to be right. After 2 injury-plagued seasons at Wesley, Ryan enlisted full-time in the Marine Corps in February of 2000.
I'm going in!
The attacks on 9/11, some 19 months later, sent Corporal Ryan's unit right to the heart of the problem. His Marine Expeditionary Unit was one of the first to arrive in Afghanistan in October of 2001.
When he was first in the Marines, you never think that anything can happen, even though there are accidents that happen during training. And I never thought anything like that would happen to him. But like once he went to Iraq, when he was in all those MEUs, and even Afghanistan, that really bothered us.
Ryan would return home in March of '02 before starting his second tour in August of that year. He would return to Gloucester again for St. Paddy's Day when he finished up his second tour in March of 2003.
That was like one of the best days of my life, because at that point he had satisfied his enlistment. He was already in over 4 years. I was elated because all the pressure was gone, because I knew that was it, he was done.
But as it turned out, the toughest part of Marc Ryan's journey was still ahead of him.
In 3 weeks, we got a phone call from him saying, I got something to tell you, and I said, oh, God. He said he extended his enlistment as a casualty replacement because there was too many of his brothers being killed, and he had to make a difference.
Marc was almost immediately sent to Ramadi, a town 60 miles east of Fallujah, returning home on surprise leave in September of 2004 after months of intense fighting.
I was totally surprised, completely surprised that he was here. I walked in, a friend of mine came to get me at work, and I thought the worst, because she said, we have to go home. So I came in the door, and he was sitting up in the stairwell. Basically, he was airlifted out of the desert and placed in New Jersey. He was home for 20 days, I believe. September 23rd, 2004 was the last time we saw him alive.
Marc Ryan was killed in action November 15th, 2004. He was 25 years old.
At his funeral, our minister stated, if I know Marc and I can feel through my heart, he said, Marc would say, don't make this about me. Make it about my family. And that's just how he was. He did everything for everybody else. And he's just missed more than anyone could ever imagine.
Mark. What's that, Coach?
Shut him out.
Shut him out.
19-0. 19-0.
Last Saturday, his community paid the Marine the ultimate tribute by enshrining his number 19 jersey in Gloucester High School's gym, making Ryan the first player in the history of the school to have his number retired.
When my family and I first heard about the high school wanting to pay tribute to Marc for retiring his jersey, we were speechless. Marc was never the type of person to want the spotlight for doing his job. Marc, we're here today, we humbly say thank you, but not want all this attention.
On this day, he didn't have a choice, as his friends, family, and peers honored their hometown hero.
So we marched right in with a few good men and joined the Marines at 19. Well, he's the boy next door. Might have carried your bags at the grocery store. He's somebody's son in a hole with a gun in a foreign land, trying to hold on to his American dream. 19.
1, 2, 3.
This way, to me, is like never going to be forgotten. You can always go back to the high school here, and you know, I can come back here and I can tell kids about who he was as they're looking at the jersey they're hanging up, and you know, he'll always be remembered in that sense. And from that point on, after that, you know, I could come back here, I could bring my children, my grandchildren, and let them know what kind of person he was.
Through all these trying 3 years since Marc was killed in Iraq, today is, I'm going to say, the first day since then that I feel so much happiness and joy and love of this community, this school, his friends, family. I can't express how much we appreciate everything.
Just as those in attendance and people around the country appreciate what men and women such as her son do to protect our freedoms.
I hope for everybody in this nation that this war ends soon and that we can get back to being safe again, and thank our military for their sacrifices. It's very important to honor those who have sacrificed so much.
Michael Barkan, Comcast Sportsnet.
Now, as for the game, you saw it within that piece. Gloucester actually trailed 21-6 late in the second half until they scored 2 touchdowns and a pair of 2-point conversions in the final minute and 10 seconds to actually go on and win it 22-21 over Pensgrove. Now, after the game, Gloucester coach Leon Harris called the day bittersweet, saying, quote, "The bittersweet part is Marc is not here. The sweet part is he's someone who deserves to be honored." We'll be right back after this.